Hello everyone! Recently, Animal Crossing New Leaf has been added to Nintendo's list of selects, and it's being offered for a permanently discounted price of just $20. This is a game that I've heard talked about a lot over the years, and it's received a lot of high praise, but I never really knew anything about it until a few days ago when I picked it up for my 3DS. I've been investing a lot of game time into New Leaf lately, and I just wanted to share with you guys my thoughts and experiences with the game so far. So what the heck is Animal Crossing? Well, from what I've seen so far, it appears to be Nintendo's take on making a game that's somewhat similar to The Sims. You simulate the daily life of you and the villagers in neighboring houses around you. You sell things for money and then spend that money on new furniture, wallpaper, floors, a new fence for your house, and even clothes and accessories for your own character. However, Animal Crossing is unique because it uses a real-world clock system. When you launch Animal Crossing for the first time, you sync your real-world time with the game's time, and from that point on you're able to experience a true day-night cycle that I haven't seen in any other game besides maybe World of Warcraft. Stores open and close at specific times of day, and the villagers even have their own sleep schedules. Some may be in bed by 9 p.m., others might have a night owl personality and be up past 1 a.m. I've also noticed the weather changing on occasion, from sunny days to stormy nights. So when you first start out, the game has an interesting way of setting up your profile. You're sitting on a train, and a mysterious cat will approach you and ask you a series of cryptic questions to determine things like your gender and what your town's name and layout might look like. I told him I was going to a town called Yum Chum, and that ultimately ended up being my town's name. I then arrived in town and was given the title of Mayor of Yum Chum for no particular reason. There were no homes available to live in, so I had to spend my first night in a tent. And at the time it was nearly midnight, so all the stores were closed and my neighbors were asleep. The raccoon guy was nice enough to build me a house the next day. However, this begins a never-ending cycle of debt that kicks you right in the crotch the second you start playing. You immediately start the game in debt with a hefty home loan, and this debt grows larger and larger every time you feel the need to expand your living space. I suppose having a loan to pay off gives the player a clear goal and a sense of accomplishment, but I thought it was amusing how this seemingly innocent kiddie game could get into such deep modern financial problems such as loan debt and down payments on houses. So you just started Animal Crossing and you've got a massive loan debt hanging over your head? You've got to start doing something to earn money. You have a few options. You can collect shells on the beaches and sell them for some pocket change. You can catch insects with your bug net. Sometimes you can break open rocks with your shovel and find gemstones or coins. You can pick fruit off trees, you can try your hand at fishing. All of these things take up precious space in your inventory, and you'll often find your pockets stuffed full before you know it. Some items can be stacked, such as fruit and loose coins. However, a majority of the things you pick up will be filling your slots no matter what. You'll have to make frequent trips to the store, where you can offload your useless junk for a handful of bells. Sometimes you can find gift boxes floating through the air on balloons. If you manage to get one close enough to the cliffside, you can swat it down with your net, but the gift usually ends up being a balloon-themed furniture item that looks ridiculous. You can also go around shaking random trees. Sometimes you'll get some free furniture. Sometimes a coin will drop, but if you're really unlucky, you can also disturb a beehive and end up with a jacked up face from bee stings if you're not careful. If you're super quick and accurate with a bug net, you can manage to catch the bees before they sting you. But more often than not, I've just had to put up with the stings. If you've been stung by a bee, other village will react to your swollen face, sometimes picking on you, other times offering sympathy. One of my villagers is so nice that she'll offer me medicine whenever I approach her with bee stings. You can interact with other villagers in many different ways. It seems like every time I play Animal Crossing, I discover a new bit of villagers' dialogue. Or just as I'm starting to feel like I've heard it all, I'm caught off guard by villagers asking me questions that I didn't even know they were able to ask. Villagers will offer to trade things with you that you have on hand. They can also ask you to deliver gifts that they've prepared for someone else in town. Occasionally, they will invite you over to their house, or ask to meet you at your house at a specific time. This actually makes you plan your real-life schedule around Animal Crossing, just to accommodate your villagers' needs. It's insanity! And if you told someone you had to skip that 7 o'clock movie just because you had an appointment with one of your fictional video game villagers, they would think you were crazy. But I absolutely love this aspect of the game. Your villagers can ask you for advice on their greetings and catchphrases, allowing you to change them to whatever you want. And they can even give you general tips about how to play the game, such as that hint about catching bees with a net. They can also give you nicknames if you're into that kind of thing. There is even a built-in postal service for your town. This allows you to write letters and send mail and gifts to your favorite villagers. I'm not entirely sure how the computer-controlled villagers interpret the text in the letters that you send to them. You may be able to scam the system just by typing the word friend a few dozen times and get extremely favorable results, but I've chosen to roleplay the game as best as I can. Every letter that I write for a villager is handcrafted and relevant to something that we talked about earlier that day. I try to be as real as possible in my letters, and the reply letters I receive usually seem to flow well as a natural response to what I had wrote. If a villager really liked your letter, they will often send you back a gift of some kind, usually furniture or a new shirt. Every day in Animal Crossing there are new spots on the ground marked where you can dig for fossils. I found that it's usually 4 to 5 spots that you can dig per day. Sometimes you unearth a fossil, sometimes you dig up a weird idol knickknack, and sometimes you dig up these things called pitfall seeds. Pitfall seeds are kind of like sinkholes that you can accidentally fall into if you walk over the crack. If you're careful, you can dig them up and sell them for a good chunk of change. If you do manage to find a few fossils, you can take them over to the museum. At the museum you can assess fossils, and if the fossil is undiscovered, you can donate it to the museum for display. They also accept unique species of bugs and fish. You can't make any money by donating to the museum, but it's a neat way to collect all of the different creatures that Animal Crossing has to offer. Alright, well that basically sums up the meat of the Animal Crossing experience. There are plenty more things to do that I haven't even had a chance to try yet, since I've been so preoccupied doing the things that I've just discussed here today. There's some kind of adventure island resort that you can take a boat to. There's a place where you can go to view other people's homes and buy their items. And there's even a whole multiplayer aspect to this game that I haven't even touched yet. Yes, there's plenty more to see and do, but I feel like I've at least covered the basics here in this video. Anyway, thanks for watching. I really hope you all enjoyed this video, and if you did, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing. I'd really appreciate it, and I'll catch you all later in the next episode.